Okay.
Okay, here we go.
So
Let me make this bigger.
here. I like starting with that.
And I'll flip it.
Let's see, 1405, 1472. Should be fun. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I flipped it. Chill. Okay. So C3.
So I'm not so used to the
So usually knight F6
C3
on C3, by the way.
Rushing too much here.
Not knight C6.
I've got time to think, but
and that's his chair. Chill out, Patrick. Chill out.
I think the take there is fine.
See, now white has a big center.
So that C3 gave him the center.
Yep, he realized that.
So pretty much I gave him the center, though, too much there, but
Yep, he realizes it.
I think I just gotta focus some on development.
Okay, that's good. But yeah, he did cede control of the center a bit easily.
I'm thinking bishop.
Knight F6 seems natural here.
I mean, bishop G4, just simple.
Bishop G4 might be a bit premature. There might be potential bishop C4 ideas.
D5 already.
And then if bishop takes, you could play queen takes because you're threatening F7. And you're also threatening bishop takes F7 check.
I'm already off of
and knight G5.
what I know in the opening. Just because of that little C3 start.
So I would probably play knight F6
I
first.
should still be able to get around.
But if he's fighting for control of the dark squares, it's good. Like if he plays E5 next, it makes sense. But like I said, bishop C4 does threaten.
Simple knight G6 soon. I'm not sure.
I think he means knight F6.
Oh god.
That's
First
nice
thing
for you.
when I go to look at the chat.
Ryu Kinkin.
Why am I not surprised? Okay, I don't think that's too much of an issue to help me build the center.
Okay, so I guess
I'm
D5 is
worried
quasi-threat.
if I play my knight G6 that E5 could be coming soon.
So I think he means knight F6.
Is there a problem with E5? Probably. Just because it's defended once and there's a pin.
Yep.
So
he could get out of it with A6, but take on C6, take on B5, take on B7 is probably bad for black.
E6, G6. I'm kind of liking G6 here.
So he's not worried about D5. Interesting.
Easier way to get to the wing and develop that way some.
If queen A5, of course, knight C3.
But yeah, probably I'm best at thinking in the middle game. The opening, I have a little bit of problem songs to think about, but hopefully I can see some more lines coming up soon.
So I think queen
And-
A4 wins?
Did I already drop my bishop, my knight? I mean,
Maybe? I guess queen A4, bishop D7 is forced.
Is-
So maybe it doesn't win.
is D5 already losing that?
But I was thinking D5 or queen A4, anything
No,
else
but
with
it
bishop
messed up
D7,
that
and then
quickly.
D5 wins.
In this game.
Because even if A6, you just take on C6 twice. And then queen D7, queen takes A8. But I guess you could play bishop D7 there too. So I guess it's not
But
completely
yeah, what can I
hopeless.
do if that happens?
But yeah. Okay, so you didn't play D5 right
Okay,
away.
Well, it hasn't happened yet. But now that I've seen it, I'm very worried about it.
So now bishop
Hopefully I
D7
just can't see
to
it.
avoid that,
Uh,
I think is the
Well, I probably
proper.
can take if I did want to take here. If I back up, I'm still very worried about this.
I mean, I guess you could take on F3 too.
This D5. It's just gonna. Well, my knight's pinned. So I think I need to take, attack the queen, so he has to retake, and then break the pin somehow. How? Oh, bishop back, break the pin. That's an only move, I think.
Yeah, see now he realized he can play bishop back.
Unfortunately,
I think
have
this
to be
is
backing up, but
safer
I think it
than
saved me.
taking F3. But white's ahead in development, obviously. So
But yeah,
why not d5
still gotta deal with that center.
from white
Hopefully I can
or from black? From white? Yeah, I mean he could have
get that bishop G7.
last move, but then a6.
Get an E5 break in, maybe.
I mean, you're not exactly winning a piece by force. I mean, it's
no
probably
how.
good,
Well, no, I have
but I'm not sure.
2 defenders of E5.
Why he
I
can do
could
it.
possibly get it in next turn.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
But I gotta see. What's white thinking about? Okay, castles. I'd really need development. But
Yep, I agree.
yeah, I think. What? Fianchetto first? Or
Yeah, probably.
pawn push? E5 will let me get my knight out. Might also make.
Yeah, like I said,
D6
Oski, if
a
d5 you
liability.
can play a6, and
I
then
think
you
just
remove
play
the
it safe
pin.
in Fianchetto first.
If you take my knight, I take your bishop, and if you play bishop a4, I play b5, and then I break the pin. So it wasn't exactly
Yeah.
something you missed, but
How
just
to
didn't
get
win a
over that
piece.
center.
But I'll go over afterwards. There might have been something there.
And what's gonna come next? I think after most of White's moves, something like E5 could be good for me.
Yeah, he's probably
That's
right.
not really what I should be going for.
But I think he
Maybe.
should probably get castled before he thinks about that.
I feel like I gotta break down that E4 D4
Yeah,
pawn.
yeah, he's probably right.
Let's see.
The problem is without a c pawn, if he plays e5, the d pawn becomes very weak. And then you'd never really want to take on d4 because it makes the d6 and d4 pawns both very weak. If there were a c7 pawn still, then it would make more sense.
Mm.
But that's why I'm kind of reluctant to play e5 right away.
But yeah, actually every once in a while after I listen to chess streams, I start talking to myself like this. So I'm a little bit practiced,
That's good.
but not in front of people before. What's White thinking about? Is there some terrible attack coming up? I feel like I'm decently solid, even though I'm not stretching out and attacking.
Yeah, he's right.
Okay, bishop out. Seems simple enough.
Okay, so definitely knight f6. Develop with tempo.
D5 will come.
Not really right.
Letting him see.
I mean, every once in a blue moon, I
do
suppose.
do I really worry about that? I don't really.
But really,
think
like,
so.
there's no point in playing there.
Where will my knight go if I push?
Yeah, I mean, what
And he pushes.
benefit do I get from playing there?
E5, D5, knight. Well, knight D4, he's protected. And that could double my pawns, but it also, I don't know, that would give me a lot of space, I feel like. I don't know, I feel like I really need to strike at the center. Or I could even just go for the knight move now. If he pushes, I take. He takes, I take.
Yeah, so if knight
Yeah,
f6,
I don't have that
e5,
much.
you should probably think about just playing knight d5 right away.
I have. Wait,
I
Yes.
think.
2.
Maybe even
defenders
knight
of that
e4,
push
actually.
pawn. I have 2 attackers.
Maybe even knight
so it'd be
e4.
equal. I can't
Because
do
knight
that.
d5,
I
you
feel like
can
pawn
maybe
push has to
play.
be best.
Oh wow, he played e5.
At least for my plan.
Well, queen b6 loses
Which
to
was
d5, right?
getting after that.
Or no, I see what you're saying. No, but queen b6 just knight c3,
So that's.
and then d5.
comes
Queen b6 was not a good move.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Okay, I went to play d5.
I mean, the main 2 runaway squares for me is B4
now-
and D4.
Now knight.
D4 will isolate my
Knight
pawns
E7
here
maybe?
on the D file if he takes. I feel like it'll also be interesting.
I mean, white has more space, but I don't think
So
d5
pawns
was
will
the
still
best.
be strong, but no, I would lose a pawn there. He takes. I take. I only have one defender against 2 attackers. I can't do that.
Yeah, I was also thinking
If I
maybe
go
knight
to
b8.
B4
Knight b8 to
instead,
take with the knight on d7 and try to
then,
get c5.
Yeah, you can attack me.
Because
but
you
I
kind of maybe
feel
want
I
this
can
knight on
sit
e7,
on
and your knights are
E5,
kind
even
of
though it's
hopping
kind of
over each
forced there.
other.
Maybe I should just retreat.
But I know what
to
you're saying. You want to play like knight e7, f5, and knight
E7.
knight f6, which also makes a lot of
Kind
sense.
of wait this
I'm just
one out.
not sure.
And my other knight can go.
So I think
to,
you might want a knight on the queen side.
my other knight will be able to go to
But-
f6.
This might be okay. Okay,
I think
so
this is
queen
alright.
takes, obviously.
Okay, yeah. Nothing better of a retake.
See, the
But
problem is you
actually,
can't
I
play
might wanna
f5 right
look
away, I
into-
don't think, because of knight g5.
A pawn push before I move my G.
So you have to play
My
h6
G knight.
first, but then
Pawn push to f5.
I can maybe start playing like queen
Since I
d3
have
or
the knight,
c1.
the knight
I don't know.
defending it. And then knight f6 and castle kingside. I think would be a pretty solid setup unless there's an issue with that.
Right, so he shouldn't play knight
Let's see.
f6 though, is a problem. I don't think.
Is there anything I have to worry about white going after here?
Because otherwise white just has huge initiative on the queen
Queen
side.
R7
Notice how
is
white has more
diagonal,
space
but
in the center,
White's light square.
and his
bishop
pieces are,
isn't there,
or
so
his
I'm not
pawns
worried
are
about that.
pointed toward the queen side.
You know, I think could be
and-
like a forced queen.
So that
or
signals
something,
where
but
white's going to play.
that
Also,
could
he
be
has his open
alright.
c file. So black needs to do
I'm liking
something
that.
to counter that.
F5 possibility here.
But I don't think you can play f5 right away because of
kinda
knight
feel
g5 to e6.
Annoyed my bishop can't see right now, but he's defensive, so it's probably okay.
So you'd have to play
Is he
h6
gonna-
first.
Is my opponent
I'm
gonna
not
go
sure.
after the queen d2, bishop h6? Well, at least not right now. He's just going for development.
Yep.
What do I have to worry about with that? He's not going for it anymore. My queen can take him on b5. I don't think he's much of a threat yet. He's just out there. I'm
True.
really liking to try and push forward a little bit. Be doing f5 before my knight comes out. It'll let my
Yeah, it is, Oski. You're right.
rook c once I'm castled.
It is.
And it'll attack his center pawn. I think that's my best choice for what I'm thinking.
Okay. So now
He's
the
got two
problem is
defenders,
knight
even though
g5, I
there's just
think.
one attacker, so I've got that set up.
I don't think he can allow this
Hopefully
knight
it's
g6.
just retaking or just knight f6 next.
But I don't know if he notices that.
I'm surprised that I made it safely to this point. The way that game started just didn't suit me at all. And I felt like I made a couple mistakes, but
Yeah,
as
he's
long as
probably
it's
right.
fine up to here, I can't complain. So yeah, hopefully if I can move that e4 pawn, there might be some e4 pushes, letting my bishop c, maybe some tricky stuff
Safely.
there.
It's true.
Hmm.
This is tricky.
Hmm. And I don't think this would happen. This just popped up in my head. The f4 push possibly. Could
Yeah,
just
I
fix his
mean,
bishop and not let him see pretty
f4
well.
would be really good. Like if he can get f4, g5, g4 in, yeah, he's
I
nice.
don't know if that'd be. Well, I could kind of clamp down on his king side, so maybe that is a thought if he has to take.
Hey, I feel safe all the time.
Because
That's
if
good.
I took e4
I'm safe.
and he retakes, he's got a really
fine.
well placed knight there
It's
on
fine.
e4. I don't think I would want to take there. So, if he doesn't take, I think my two candidate moves right now are that pawn push f4 or just basic development knight f6. But yeah, okay, he takes
Wow.
there.
I don't know if
And
I would have
have
done
two, well, 3 recaptures, but
that.
I'm pretty sure knight recaptures the smartest. My queen, not really feeling like going there.
So, which recapture
sure.
do you guys like? It's
That
tricky.
That's a second defender. It's the
I believe
kinda weak
pawn takes is better because you want to control the e4
D6
square.
point.
If you take with a knight, then
I
knight
guess I would
e4
have
is
to
really
worry about
annoying.
Pawn push,
Like knight
to
g5,
g4.
knight e6, and knight e4 is really bad. So yeah, I
but
think
I can
pawn
always
takes is better.
Step back with that knight and should be fine.
But I don't think he's even considering
So
it.
knight
Yeah.
there.
So this is the problem. Now e4 is a huge hole. Yeah.
What's he?
So
gonna
g
think
takes I
about?
think is better. It looks a little
I
weird,
guess I
but
kind of have to worry that I've waited so long
yeah,
to castle.
this is definitely King's Indian 101.
That's come back to bite me before, or I've gotten a good position.
The
But not
problem is, though,
castled.
this knight can come to e6, and there's no
But I think
light scored
it's-
bishop. Usually these
It's
bishops
still
don't get
closed up
traded
enough for
so
me to
easily.
get that last
This is
knight
like a
move
really
in
good
castle.
King's Indian for white.
What's gonna happen here? Yeah, for some reason I keep looking at that queen. Oh no, he's got that knight move there.
Okay, so he did see this. I mean, it was
Well,
happening. Yeah, you can still
E6
castle
square. I
Oski. You
didn't
can still
even
castle.
look at that. Oof.
Because you're going to play like King H8
Well.
eventually, and then Rook G8. Because you definitely can castle queenside.
I mean, yeah,
so.
I can just let it happen.
But it's a
and
good
then
question. You do still castle.
Lose my bishop. He's not that great. But he also stops me from castling, so that's annoying. I can't really.
Right. So the problem is this knight e6 stops him from castling. He's right.
I can't really do my any knight d4 stuff to defend it
Right.
because he can just take.
So he actually has to play knight f6 and then king f7.
Maybe
It looks really ugly,
there's
but
something better.
I mean, he's probably just lost, right?
Knight takes
Knight
bishop,
f6, knight
maybe?
e6, king f7, f4, like opens the f
Just
file by
to-
force. This
I
is
don't
why
know,
he had to
it's not a good
recapture with
idea.
the pawn,
My knight's really well placed though.
so he can keep the f
It's
file
really
closed. So on f4 he can play
Taking his bishop,
e4.
just have the bishop. Well, not even the bishop pair to
Oh,
equalize that setup.
This is
That'd be a
rough.
terrible idea. His rook will see after the pawn retakes. I'll never castle in that case. I think I really just have to develop and
this is rough.
just deal with that monster knight there. It's gonna be painful, but
Yeah, I don't think you can castle
can't see
queenside.
much else. I thought I was.
I don't
gonna
think you
have
can
to
castle
do
queenside.
King E7, F7 to defend the bishop, but luckily my queen's there to
Yeah,
recapture.
because then a7 hangs. What's up, Shrimp?
I mean, I'm pretty. Yeah, I was pretty sure that move was coming.
Yeah. So now king f7. I guess. Maybe
I mean,
king
I could,
east.
instead of losing my
This looks even worse.
bishop to that knight,
Oh
I
man.
could just queen g6, box out the knight, and trade on g6. It puts my knight on the rim as a problem, but
I
is
don't
that
know what to
too
do
big of an
here.
issue? I mean, also I was gonna say my first thought of doing that was so I could get my
And also notice white's
my
threatening
on
knight to
G7 so I can
b5.
trade. I really want to trade. Well, my knight's for this guy, but it's so
Knight to
hard do.
b5. If queen takes b5, knight c7
But
forks
maybe I
everything
should just sit
on earth.
tight and wait to have that trade happen there.
And you're threatening knight c7.
And, then
And
move
knight takes
on.
a7. This is ugly.
Now I'm thinking, is there some way?
This is really
Is there some
ugly.
way I can get at that pawn? I don't know. That d5 pawn that's making this knight a monster. Oh,
So I think you have to like
This
king
is
f7 with the idea of knight takes d5. That's like the only thing you can do, I think.
capture that.
Even
bishop
that
when
doesn't work because he has
happens.
knight g5 check. Oh man. Knight g5 check. So you have to like king e7 with the idea of knight takes d5? I guess?
Maybe I should.
Yeah,
sit
I guess
there,
that's what you do. Yeah, you
develop
play
my-
king
one of
e7
my
here.
Rooks while I'm waiting for him to take there.
Oh, man,
Maybe
that
he won't
is,
take.
that is
I don't
not
know,
good.
it's just cramping
Oh no, but then knight
everything.
takes d5 is... Wow. You can't even do
Yeah, I
that.
don't have much to do, but well, no.
Oh, wow.
I shouldn't do rook c.
I don't know what to do here.
It hangs my pawn. So I don't know. Pawn push. Wait and see what his hand is.
I don't know what to do here.
So I can't do anything with my queen. That knight's stopping her from moving diagonally.
Oh, he wants to play a6? Might
I
not
don't
be
think
bad.
King moves will be safer. Maybe just
He is
pawn up.
fine. He's not fine.
see what his hand is. Start pushing those
Well,
pawns.
what planet
I
is he
can't think of
fine?
anything else. I'm just my position's so locked up right now.
I mean, he can play knight a4 to b6. He can
but
play
yeah, like,
bishop b6.
There are
Play rook
possibilities.
c1. I mean,
Right,
this is
okay. He goes there too.
this is getting
I was thinking
disastrous.
he's going C1 already. But
But apparently
well,
Ray says
we
he's fine.
trade.
So let's all trust
My queen's
Grandmaster
not
Ray
going
over
to
here.
defend the bishop
Says,
anymore.
says
Maybe I
black's
should
fine.
be playing something along the lines of king f7. Just get him here instead of castling, or artificial castle kind of. Just to connect these rooks.
Yeah, take e3 and play bishop
Or is
h6.
E7 better? E7, F7, or something else.
Well, if you take e3, I can take g7 first.
No,
maybe?
E7's losing my bishop. F7.
But yeah,
is
I
across
guess.
from the rook, but they're still.
I guess I can just take
at least.
f6 though. If you take e3 and play bishop h6, I take f6,
Or should I be
and then you
trying to
lose.
reposition these knights?
So you lose. I mean, you can take e3 and take c1,
I'm
but
trying to
two
think
pieces
how's the
for
best
the
way to
rook
reposition them
is GG.
and attack the knight. I'm not seeing it. I just want to move my king up like that.
Oh boy.
Now,
Oh boy.
hopefully that frees up my queen to do something fun. But I
Oh
don't know.
boy.
Or maybe I should have just kept going with the b5 push. Then
Hey man,
b4,
don't get mad at me.
Attack that knight.
It's not my position that
It's
you can't
a
save
tough
it.
feeling right now.
It's book fans.
So let me see.
So he'd like to play f4
Let's see,
obviously,
gotta go
but he
for it.
can't because the bishop hangs.
Since he didn't take it last turn, I don't think he really
No,
wants to
dude.
take this.
I don't think I
My
could even
bishop's
help
a little
him.
bit stuck here, and that
But he'll learn a
knight's
lot from this
basically
game,
his
which is
best
good.
piece. It's a monster.
I'll try to be gentle.
I mean, but the thing is, if he doesn't take it, he's just kind of sitting there. Like, although yes, he's really cramping, I feel like there's still
Oh, corn.
ways to play around it.
Maybe he can flag him.
So like, it'd be nice if I could just keep playing around until I end up attacking either the d5 pawn or attacking the knight itself with a knight. If one of those two things can happen, I feel like I'm in clearer water, and then I gotta end up having a plan of my own. But
Fair enough, Yaron.
right now, I have to be reacting
Okay, so knight takes
Reacting
d5
to
doesn't
that
work
knight.
because of knight g5.
reacting to that.
So black has no
So I
threats.
gotta
I'm not sure what white should
go
do though.
rook on the open c file, but I can at least challenge that now.
Like, is
With
knight
two
a4 good?
defenders on the
Just like
c8
trying to go knight
square.
b6? Does that make sense?
But let's see. Is it? Well,
Or
I
maybe
guess
just-
I have to be deciding what he's going for.
Bishop to b6? Bishop b6 threaten f4?
Hmm.
That might actually be best.
He's
Bishop
taking a
b6
while to
threaten
think about
f4.
that too.
I think that's best.
Okay, queen there. What's that for?
Well, it depends who you're playing, Ray. If you're playing me, good luck. If you're playing a 1200, maybe. I mean, white is winning, but it's
I
not
don't really see
one.
good reason for that.
big difference. Yeah, I think bishop b6 was
I
strong.
mean, yeah, eventually he could be attacking things on this side, but it's not really doing much right now.
And then on any move you
The
play
main
f4.
thing I see is it's not.
Yeah, I think
defending
white's still setting up f4, but
this
knight g3 is a
e5 pawn anymore. He's still got
quasi
the
issue.
knight
I mean, you
defending
could probably
it,
sacrifice
but
the exchange and still win,
If I
but
could find a way to maybe.
I mean,
push
okay,
these
maybe knight
pawns,
g3,
get
I
the
play knight
knights not
e4, I
defended,
don't know.
And then get my
Do
queen
crazy
attacking.
stuff.
So
I
like,
get triple check, something.
I got
b5. Okay, I mean, b5 makes sense. You're stopping knight a4.
Deal, but
I mean, what else are you going to do?
that's the move I want to get in, and then as well as the whole one of the rooks on c8. But
What
now,
else are you going to do?
now that my pawn's not there,
Yeah,
maybe
this is fine.
get my queen b7.
I mean, when you're lost,
and
you're
pawn
lost.
push, and then get that pawn.
It's a chore
That'd be
not to
very
make your
nice.
position worse. So
Since
he's doing okay for having gotten
I
to this
feel like.
position.
Oh, actually, I just realized my other knight's attacking the pawn. If I get that queen b7, and he only holds on to that one defender if he doesn't make a rook d1 move.
Would
he
rook
can already
h8 would have
take
been
it.
good there?
But yeah, probably he could have something like rook d1 then.
Are you planning to sacrifice on
push,
e6?
And if he moves
Is
away
that your
with his
idea?
knight, maybe knight takes, and I've got the pawn with the king attacking the knight, and then you'd see something like knight g5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel a little safer, even though I still feel a little clamped down. I feel like there's a disconnect
Yeah.
between this really
Yeah.
far
Probably.
and the rest of his pieces.
Probably his wish.
So
Probably.
okay, pawn move. Either he's preparing something or he's just waiting to see what's going on.
Yeah. Oni's
Well,
not taking the
see.
bull by the horns here.
I feel like it's just a waiting move, and I really want to get this queen.
This is how you let
b7.
black
I
into
feel
the
like
game, by the way.
I can have it. Oh, of course, he's stopping me from getting my my b4.
I don't know that I play h6.
But two things.
That
If I have
seems-
my queen
seems a
here,
bit
which I'm
much.
doing, I can both push my A pawn to support it, so that I can do A5,
Yeah, unfortunately, knight
E4.
d4 hangs a pawn,
or even just
I can just
like
take
a
twice,
B4,
right?
he takes,
Knight
and then
takes,
I can
pawn
take
takes,
my
bishop
queen
takes.
since I'm behind it,
and then my queen has
and
access to
maybe
this
wreak some
e5.
havoc on his queen
So
side.
knight d4 doesn't really
But that
help
seems
you too much,
quite
Oski.
dangerous. Like if I ended up somehow taking queen takes b4, queen takes
Rook h8?
b2.
Yeah,
I, feel like
I think
that's
rook
almost
e8 was also a
poisoned
good
pawn, even though
try.
it's entirely
Just to alleviate some
not
pressure.
the same position. It just feels like the same poison pawn position. But yeah, I'm expecting rook f to d1 to defend it, unless he's got something else up his sleeve. He's got to do something about this pawn, I'm sure. Two attackers, one defender.
Yeah,
What else can he be
I know,
doing here?
but you can also hide your king with rook h e8.
And then maybe if he just stops whatever plans I have.
Yeah, it's a good point,
Oh,
Patrick.
wow,
Knight
okay.
moves, threatening rook c7 check.
f4.
But don't forget
not
d5 would
expecting.
hang. So I could like play knight takes d5.
What's that gonna do?
Oh boy.
That's not gonna hurt me. He wants to open up this file to kill my king.
Yeah, that's true. But that diagonal doesn't really help you.
But
Is
is
the
that
problem.
even that big of a deal?
Like your queen having that diagonal doesn't give you
Well,
any
yeah, it
additional
is,
scope
but-
really. And it also opens up the
what
e
I'm
file
saying, I
for
can
white's
push
pieces.
my pawn and keep it closed, but then I have to babysit that pawn for quite a while. There's less taking possibilities.
Okay, so what the heck does black do here?
But then again, pawn push, and I do want to do that whole idea
Yeah,
of
so knight g3
Knight
wins the
takes-
exchange.
knight takes
I don't know if it's
pawn.
best though.
on d7.
I
and then my
don't know if
bishop's
it's best
finally doing something.
because
Or what if I don't.
This
wanna do
knight is like your
takes
best
first
piece.
because then he can open up the f file.
and you're
I
really
could
just
be
basically
pretty
trading this
screwed
knight on
pretty fast.
f5 for this rook on
At
c1, right?
b4, knight
So knight
g4
g3
is
queen
coming
moves, knight takes rook,
I
rook
have that
takes
knight.
rook, or rook takes knight.
pinned again, just like at the very beginning of the game.
I don't like
But
that
yeah,
trade for
I think
black really. So I'm thinking knight
F4.
takes d5 might be better. Threatening
F4, he's defended, and then
knight
if I
d
do take away my
takes
defense,
e3.
it's because I'm taking a pawn. I take a pawn, he
And if
takes
knight
a pawn
takes
in the
queen
center.
takes, and you're threatening the knight.
So, like-
Knight g5, king e7, and safe.
If it were my turn,
Maybe.
knight takes d.
Bishop h6.
His knight takes
Yeah, so the idea
d4.
is a pawn takes take on e3. But
and
then can I play g4, g5 your end?
I've got my
g4,
queen
g5,
and
just
bishop
fork all your
crossing in the
pieces,
center,
triple
possibly.
wise, quadruple wise.
Oh yeah, and then I have two.
I don't know what's going on here.
Rooks, two knights attacking this bishop here. Could look pretty nice. So, how is he going to defend against that? Is he going to have that?
I don't know if e4 was the best.
rook coming over to
Plus
D,
five.
d1, not letting
Yeah.
that happen.
But like I said, I don't know if
Or
knight
does he
g3 is
wanna
a
keep
threat.
the rook on the f file?
And
'cause
I'm
he
not even
thinks he
sure
can
knight
get to
takes
my king?
d5 is a
I
threat
mean, I feel like
anymore.
I've stopped that threat pretty well. Okay, so he's going straight forward with that.
Okay,
But,
g4.
but there's an issue right here. Straight tactic. There's a fork.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something. Knight to g3. I can get that.
Yeah, so I mean, he might as well win the
F rook
exchange.
that's been staring me down the whole game.
But maybe he
Is
should,
that-
maybe he should take on e3, take on
is that-
d5,
Truly a thing.
and then if queen e4, queen
Or can
b6
he do
check,
something that completely
and
destroys
then take
it?
on c3. Does that
this,
work?
This knight could be tricky and stop it, but I don't know. They can check me. But
Well,
they
if you take on
can't stop
d5,
it
I
from
take on
happening.
f5.
This has to be good. I got that fork. It seemed like he
I'm
just
so
kind
sure
of
this
rushed into attack
fork is
and
good, but
let
okay.
that happen. Which,
Okay, I mean, it does win
moves
material,
ago.
just-
Wait a second. Let me look back a couple moves. He pushed.
Last move?
I could have done it. I could have done it last move. It was there a move ago. I probably
Well,
should've
no,
done
because
it
the knight was
before
attack
that,
last move,
But I
right?
decided to just go
Or-
straight for it. He really wants to attack down. Oh my god, this queen and rook
Okay, well now
was
he can take on
scaring me,
d5 though,
But
right?
maybe I just go ahead with my old plan. I'm looking.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
it at
but
the
knight
time.
g3 was
I
always
saw it at the
there.
time, just
I think
the
he just-
increment.
didn't care or
I
didn't
kind of
notice.
want to do this.
But like I said,
This
now
knight take,
black's best piece is gone. So I'm not so sure this is so
D5.
good for black. But he can take on
clear
d5
up
now.
a little bit of my side and finally attack that.
Yeah, knight takes d5, f5. I take
and get my king off this f file.
on e3,
I almost dropped my bishop again. I was thinking about that east.
And then if you take on g6,
king
I take on
E7, and I probably would have gone
e6 and everything's
to run
covered.
away with it, but
So my knight defends f5, my
luckily
queen
I
defends
remembered
f7.
way earlier that was going to happen, so I did defend it, like just now.
Okay.
I'm just stopping
So now knight
maybe
e3?
not take in case there's something for my knight to do.
Zwischenzug.
but It's not coming.
So if you take on
back or
g7,
anything,
bishop
so
d4.
I'm gonna take here.
So I think you take on
there's
e3.
any very fast attack, but there's definitely an attack coming.
What?
Okay.
He should take it on d5 first.
I
Then
almost moved
bishop
my knight back
d4.
and got it pinned again.
I have no clue what's going on anymore.
Okay.
Well,
so
if knight f6, I
he
guess
went
you
the
can play
exchange back.
g5.
Wow.
So king
Is that so?
g8, I guess?
I think
King
you just
G8?
got the exchange back.
Because if king f7, I'm worried about
So
f5.
King goes off to the side. Is that what's really gonna happen here? King over.
I think so,
Or
Frankie.
king down, so I can get the king in the
It's
corner.
true,
Have
Ray.
some protection.
I can't handle it.
Yeah, it's
Can't
true.
handle it.
I just realized after all of this,
Alright, he played king g8. That's what I would've done.
Or almost connected.
Okay.
Pass pawns.
I wouldn't have taken. I would just let it rock.
Yeah,
Knight
you
e4
can
was
take
really
on this
strong, I
turn.
think.
But I have a passed pawn right here.
Oh, queen d4 check. Oh.
And if he takes
No, you play
materials
e3
equal,
first,
which
Wish.
I'm very
Maybe.
surprised
But then
about.
queen f3, and then I play.
I need to get my
take, and-
last. Oh,
Ugh,
okay.
I
So,
don't know.
ouch.
I thought I could play e3 first, but I guess queen
That
f3 is a
happened.
problem. Yeah, this is just bad
I'm
news
thinking
bears
either
all around.
Queen block drops the.
I mean, weren't you
knight, so
losing the
gotta
whole
keep
rook
the
anyway,
queen
though?
here. I really gotta just move my king. But he's not really getting anything.
Because king f7, I play
back
queen
yet.
d4 anyway, and then I'm forking the
I'm
rook and the
definitely
knight.
Still
Like,
the one
it's
in
still the
more
same thing,
treacherous
right?
waters. I feel like I can't attack his king.
So I don't think you could avoid losing a full rook.
Bruh. Knight's taked.
Yeah, I think it was just bad news bears all
Two
around.
attackers, one defender.
But yeah, you're right. I mean,
that queen
6 and
came
1, half
in
dozen
and
together, I
just-
guess.
Yep.
So now he has to take.
And I have to take.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I mean, he played queen f7, but
Luckily,
then the rook hangs.
I ended up with these connected passed pawns, so there might be some.
Yeah, I know
form
he was
of
up at one point,
compensation,
but not
this
anymore.
is gonna be hard.
Well, maybe he was up. I don't even know.
Oh, almost walked into a fork there. I wanted to get my.
He was better for maybe a half
I wanted to
move.
move
Maybe.
rook e8, but that would be a quick fork, losing the rook.
But yeah, this
Wait,
is
now I can
GG.
do it.
Just
get
rook
that rook
e1 or
behind my
c1.
pawn. If only I can convince this knight to move and push this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
It's a good move.
I almost
So now
walked
if king
into
e6,
another
knight c7 is the
fork there.
problem.
Oof.
That's pain.
He's gonna be coming down. And being a
So probably rook a7 is best.
rook on the 7th.
But
That's no fun.
Rook c7 trades rooks and forks these pawns. GG.
I just gotta get my rook behind that pawn. There's not much more I can do.
Yeah, but now rook
Ouch,
c7
that-
wins. Because he has to go king
That
f8.
queen with the fork.
With king g8
So I
and
had
knight
the second
f6 fork.
attacker. I mean,
Ouch.
I set myself up. My defense
So
there.
then he has to go king f8
So
and then
I-
you can just
I
play
just kept worrying
rook
about the
h7.
F file, and it ended up coming from the right side of the board.
Man, this is bad news.
There was just a lot to deal with, but there's still hope. As long as I have these passed pawns, there's still hope. But okay, I'm expecting.
I mean, to be fair, he didn't
Rook
have
to
that
come
much
down and
time.
attack me.
Like, he only has 2 minutes now,
C7. Okay, that
and
didn't
he just
happen.
gained a bunch of
I thought it was
time
gonna be rook c7, and I
from
could
the
move my
increment.
king up.
He only had about like a minute and a
For
half, I
moment,
think,
there
when he
wanted to
was
be a
figuring that stuff
pin,
out.
But there's still a pin. I can't. Dang it! I can't push with the
But-
check because he has that knight there.
Yeah, I'm sure there were
can't
several
move.
inaccuracies.
King.
I mean, I'm not even sure what we
E6.
were suggesting was any good either,
What
but
to do?
it was tough.
This position, it's just oof.
It was really tough.
I feel like he's gonna find a way to. King E. No, he can't
Chat
take it
request.
too easily, but it could happen pretty soon.
Plays.
I feel like there's just waiting moves at this point. I'm gonna do this so that my king has some breathing room and he can go actually move.
Yeah,
and
because
help
black was
someone.
basically in Zugzwang. So he's trying to just find moves.
My king couldn't move up or right, and he can't move
Doesn't really help,
to
unfortunately.
e6 because of that fork. And yeah, he can take my pawn, but he's not gonna hold on to it for long.
But yeah, he
I
noticed the
wanna
rook
get my
c7 was
king
a
up
big
and
thing.
Actually defending.
f5 is a strong move.
Yeah. That's
Zdravo.
That's not good for me. That's just what I did not want to see.
Okay, so I mean,
I'm guessing
rook c7 is
I'm gonna
winning,
start moving
so.
these pawns on the side so that maybe I can get my rook move. Okay, so that happened. And now that freaking pawn's there, I don't have the e6 anymore. I have like one reasonable move. The other one has a fork.
Yeah, so now knight f6.
This
rook
is
h7,
not turning out well.
Whatever.
Maybe
Yeah,
there's
it's GG.
a good move of rook e5.
Rest is elementary.
If he moves, I can push my pawn up, and my pawns are finally connected. If I'm not killed here, that could actually have some substantial reasoning. Which, let me look back a couple moves. Oh, never mind. He moved there. But yeah, this rook up couldn't have happened before. I only have a minute left, but I still have the time every time. I really feel like this push of my rook up here. He's got to move his knight here.
He's doing a good job.
And he can't attack either my king or my rook, so I can push.
As you get stronger,
pass
you
pawns must be pushed.
realize the inevitable.
Unfortunately, he has this pass pawn now, and he's soon to get 3 connected pass pawns.
Comes
if he wants
much
to take
quicker.
my pawn, I can't do much about it. But also, secondary thought: if he's moving his knight, I can push my e pawn as well. Although I don't think I want to do that quite yet. I should probably keep them connected.
Hey, I mean, you never know.
So that the king can steal
Never
him
know.
on his own. But yeah, that was just another idea. I can push since it's protected now.
If he
Since,
plays
I
like
mean,
knight
the
f4,
knight
maybe?
has to move right,
Knight f4, black
doesn't
wins?
he? He's got to be just choosing.
Knight c3,
which spot he wants
b4,
to go
rook
to
a7,
right
black
now.
wins? Maybe?
So you want to go to
There's possibility.
e3? Do you want to go to f6?
Oni sits there for 2 minutes, loses on time, black wins.
F6 it is, okay.
Okay, so he's starting knight
Now
d7.
He's threatening this fork.
And the rook is actually trapped. You guys see this? Rook is trapped. He can only go to e7.
Knight d7. So I think I need to get my king over right now. That might
But his
just be-
king can't
I can't
move.
move my king to e7.
His king is
Great.
stalemated. This is
Pawn
bad
push
news,
check.
bears.
I need some time.
Yeah,
I
but that
need
still
some-
doesn't save his rook.
Some movement.
Rook's
of my
in the
rook.
trap,
I can't move my king
exactly.
at all this turn.
Yeah, very cute.
Pawn push.
Very cute.
Rook over. Rook push. I can't
This rook
push
has,
my rook,
you know,
David.
6 legal moves. They all lose.
Rook back. If he trades, I
Pretty
basically
funny.
lose. I still have a passed pawn maybe at the end of this.
No, you got nothing.
There's
Knight
I
d5, knight
I
takes
couldn't
e3.
do anything at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
Another pin.
Yeah, that was
another
nice.
fork to
Yeah,
put the nail.
still
in the
some nice
coffin.
aesthetics in this game.
Close to resign time.
Yeah, at least he knows. At
Yeah,
least he knows.
that's not fun. You want to blunder and give me a queen over here? That'd be nice.
B takes a3 pre-move. King takes
Yeah,
d6.
I mean-
No, pre-move B takes
Okay.
a3.
Good game.
Yeah.
Good game. You had the pressure on the whole time.
Knight d7 didn't win
It's
anything though,
resign
because
time.
king could just move.
I don't see. all
So
my
it didn't win the
pawns, yeah.
rook.
Good game.
Well, could have gone better, I suppose.
Yeah, just. There were some issues from the beginning. I'm lucky he didn't grab that knight when he could.
Yeah, I mean there were a lot of interesting parts to that game. Do you have time to go over it?
Yeah, I have all the time I need.
Okay. So, let's see, how do I want to do this? Whoops. Okay, let me make this a little bit smaller. Okay, So let's see. There should be a way I can actually analyze this game somehow.
I know I can since I don't have any premium membership or anything.
Right, but since I do, I should be able to, and then I should be able to invite you into the room and invite Oni into the room as well. So let me see. Yeah, I mean, I can just use the back rows, but like I can't actually like make moves on the board. I don't think, can I? Bowers, because like I'm not actually examining the game like with them in the room. You know what I mean? So let me.
Well, I mean, I can watch on the stream if that's the best way.
Yeah, it's just going to be delayed a few seconds. That's the only thing. But yeah, it's fine. And then Oni can watch as well, so we can talk about his moves. Okay, so let me just go back to the beginning. Yeah, I might have to go to his game history, but I mean, it's fine. If he watches the stream, it should, it shouldn't be more than a couple of seconds. Okay, let me just make the board decently big.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you like when you start something, like the board just changed. I don't know.
Okay.
It changed a couple times back and forth. I don't know how far behind I am, but.
Okay, so I just made the first move for both players. So you're probably.
Let's see. It's still waiting. It's about 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, let me try something. Let me see if I can go to your history and then do it that way. Okay, so recent games. Okay, so let me go to this one. I am blocked from posting on this game. Okay, analyzing live. Okay, let's see if this works. And then I can invite you. I think this should work actually.
Okay.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Because this should be better. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Nice. Okay, this works. Okay, so I go to friends. So I'm going to invite you. Invite to analysis board. Okay.
Okay, cool.
And then I'm going to invite him as well.
I'm here.
Yep, I see you.
I saw. I'm going to flip board so I can see from my perspective.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I see. You just have the first
yeah. So yeah, if you follow along on that board, it should be perfect.
Yeah, I'm following on this board, so that's good.
Okay.
So I feel like my build game worked out well, but
yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to interject. But,
okay, sure.
Okay. So let me just make you a little bit louder. Okay. See, the problem is. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I make this bigger. Still looks the same. Okay, I just want to have it so I can see the controls. Okay, let me flip it. I don't know, do I have to make this even bigger? Okay, maybe I do this. Okay. Let me see, does this look right? Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Okay, so let me flip it again.
Okay.
Alright, sorry about that.
Yeah. I guess I can be commenting along as you go, just if I want to.
Yeah. I mean, I heard what you were thinking. Okay, so this position after C3.
Right.
So you notice that he's trying to get the center. So you have to be very careful here, because if you let him build a big center like he ended up doing, it's kind of tough for you to equalize. So do you see, rather than playing this move, knight to c6, do you see what you could have done instead, maybe to challenge the center right away?
So that's actually one of the things that came to my mind, but I wasn't quite saying it yet. The king's pawn, push e5 maybe.
Yeah, okay, so the problem with e5 is how many pieces do you have developed after you play e5?
None.
Yeah, okay. And so if he plays d4, he can actually open up the center to his advantage, because, again, he has 3 defenders on it, and you only have 2 attackers.
I still don't have it, right.
Right, okay. So what could you do to immediately challenge the center with maybe a gain of tempo?
It's an immediately challenge to move my either d5 or secondly, I saw f5 could be.
Okay, well, how about developing a piece?
Or okay, developing. See, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
So knight f6.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. So.
Forever.
Yeah. So knight f6 is much better. Okay. So let me tell you first that there's actually a trap here, being that you're not actually threatening this pawn. Do you see why you're actually not threatening this pawn?
So, right, there's the queen for
right, exactly. So actually, the book move in this position is to play bishop e2, and then of course the point is right. If you take on e4, just for the people in the chat, queen a4 check forks the knight and the king. So, so you're not actually threatening the pawn, but you are developing a piece. And notice that now he can't play d4, right? Because now you can take the pawn, and there's no queen a4 check. So the point of this knight f6 move is that it kind of stops d4. So usually what happens is plays bishop e2 or something, you play g6, castle.
Yeah, I think I just got stuck in the basic Sicilian line, and I wasn't used to that c3.
Right, exactly. So then usually he plays like d3 here, and then you castle, then like knight d2, something like this.
Yeah, and it's a lot prettier.
Yeah, and now you have a normal Sicilian position, and now you're fine, right? Okay.
Right.
So by playing this move knight c6, now all of a sudden after d4, it's a little bit tricky. Okay. So here, so taking was fine. And now you play this move bishop g4, which I think may have been a little premature, because ideally which pieces do you kind of want to get out at this point?
I suppose the knights would be okay.
But I mean, really, what's your like ultimate goal here?
Or to get control of the center.
Yeah, but I mean, even before that, what do you need to vacate first? Right, you want to do this, right?
You mean, okay, yeah, castling.
Yeah, so it's important to castle because since he has control of the center, he's going to be the one who can dictate when the center opens. So if you can kind of get your king to safety at around the same time he does, or even sooner, then he'd kind of be reluctant to open the center, and then you can kind of get time to challenge the center eventually with, something like e5 or something of that nature, or even like knight f6 and d5 or something. But by developing another queenside piece, unfortunately, your king is at least, 4 moves from castling, right? Like you'd have to move your knight, a pawn, a bishop, and then castle. So you're not really helping yourself get your king to safety, unfortunately.
Yeah, so looks like my g6 was like a move late here.
Yeah, exactly. Everything was a move late, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So knight c6 was actually a move late because knight f6 would have been preferable, and then now bishop g4 was a move late. So actually you're 2 moves late from where you should be.
Right.
And in the opening, 2 moves is often a huge deal. In some middle game, it's maybe not such an important thing, but being 2 moves behind in the opening is not someplace you want to be. So I actually thought maybe that Oni could play bishop c4, and then you see what he's threatening with this move, bishop c4.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say knight for the knight to go and attack f7, but
right. So just you have the right idea, just the move order thing. So he's actually threatening bishop takes f7, and then if king takes knight g5 check and queen takes g4, wins a pawn. Yeah. So, but bishop b5 made sense too. I just thought bishop c4 kind of forces you to play something like e6 or something, and then you're wasting another move that he can use to kind of challenge the center even further. But okay, so at this point, you should realize that he has some
tactic coming up.
Yeah, some sort of something. So yeah, I mean, you realize that this knight was pinned, and you realize that he had this move d5 to attack it.
I realized it 1 move too late. Again.
Right. Oh, but okay. So
yeah.
So first thing you have to ask yourself is, once you notice it, is it actually a threat? So say you make a nothing move like knight f6, right? And then he plays d5. So what's the only way you have to save a piece in this position?
Well, let's see. I mean, I feel like the only thing I'm threatening is to take his f3 knight, but that doesn't.
No, yeah, but that's not
going
going to help you, right? Because he just takes back, and then you're still in the same predicament.
But I'm just trying to see. Oh, well, another thing that doesn't help. I mean, there's the queen to
A5, right? So queen A5 looks like it might help, but the problem is not only does it help him, or not only does it not work, but it helps him develop a piece, because after knight c3, he defends this and he defends this, and you're still in the same predicament.
Right.
So, so is there something else you could try in this position?
I can't move the knight out of the way.
Right. So what's preventing you from moving the knight?
I can push a6. If
right.
He takes, I take.
Right, and if he plays bishop a4,
then push again.
Yeah, exactly. B5. Yeah. Okay, and now you break the pin.
Yeah.
Right. So the question is, you have to ask yourself: is okay, this saves me from losing a piece, but does this actually work? And the answer is probably not. Like, he takes on c6, you take on a4, he takes on a4, and now he's threatening some sort of c7 check maybe, or, I mean, this pawn is probably pretty strong. He has ideas of playing knight c3 and knight d5. So this is probably not great for you. So it turns out that this d5 is probably a threat.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, what should you do?
I feel like that bishop d7, which I did later on.
Right, but notice this is another reason why bishop g4 wasn't as accurate, because now notice how you're wasting a third move by moving this bishop from g4 and back to d7. So is there a way you can maybe prevent d5 from being as strong without wasting a third tempo?
Well, I feel like that a6 remove we were talking about before.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks kind of ugly, but unfortunately your position at this point is a bit ugly, so you have to resort to ugly moves. But a6 actually does take care of the problem. So he probably wouldn't want to take this because it kind of just helps you control this d5 square, and also gets rid of his good bishop for this knight that's not really doing much. So he'd probably play a move like bishop a4 and force you to play a move like b5, and then bishop b3, and keep this bishop. But okay, now at least you can start maybe developing. So now again, notice he is threatening this bishop takes f7, right?
Yeah.
So
maybe something like e6.
Right, but you can also actually,
bishop out.
As long as you defend this bishop, you can actually not even have to worry about blocking that. So maybe something like knight f6 is possible. So now if he takes and plays knight g5, you just move your king because your bishop is defended. And nothing like knight e5 or anything works because you can just take it. So, I mean, of course, if you take the queen, it's mate, but you can just take the knight. So there's nothing tricky like that. And I think if he plays e5, you just take it, and then you can always take the queen first, and there's no real trickiness there. So, so yeah, and then your idea is, right, like you said, either to play e6 and bishop e7 and castle, or g6, bishop g7 and castle. Either one would probably be okay. But okay, at least you're developing your pieces, and yes, he has the center, but you know, if you can finish your development, you can start maybe trying to chip away at that center. Like I said, with eventual e5 or d5. But okay, so not noticing that d5 was an actual threat was, oops, so you played...
so yeah, that was an issue. I just played to develop.
Right, so you
G6.
played g6, right. So now I think d5 is probably really strong here. And again, you'd be forced to play something like a6 and b5, and you'd probably just be down a pawn and behind in development to boot. But okay, so he played h3, so it kind of gave you a chance, and you actually took it, because now you're not really losing a full tempo by playing your bishop back to d7, because he wasted one by playing h3. So notice that, you know, you kind of saved the tempo in a way. And now with bishop d7, now, you know, your position is actually approaching normalcy. You still have a big problem in that these guys on g8 and f8 haven't developed, but other than that, if you can get those guys out, you should be okay. So he castled. You played bishop g7, good. Okay, he played bishop e3. Okay, now is the time we need to complete the development, right?
Okay. I was so worried about striking at the center.
Right,
so it was so
right,
strong
right.
there.
The problem is you're not actually completely well equipped to strike at the center until you get your king safe. Because as you noticed in the game,
Okay.
what ended up happening, right? You weren't able to
Yeah, I
castle at
couldn't
all.
castle.
Right. So, so the thing is, after like a move like knight f6, I mean, what is he actually threatening, right? I mean, if he plays a move like e5,
Yeah, I kept worrying about e5.
right? So okay, so on e5, you have to think about what can you do. So it doesn't seem like it's a good idea to take, right? Because again,
No,
you're opening up the position and your king's still stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But if you play a move like, say,
Knight d5.
yeah, knight to d5, right?
Yeah, I should. I didn't notice that wasn't attacked or anything. I guess.
Right. And then the point is, say if he takes on d6, you actually don't recapture this immediately. Because if you do, then he has bishop g5 and rook e1, and that's very annoying for you to meet. But instead, you actually take here first on e3. And now he's forced to recapture here.
Okay. Yeah.
And now you take on d6. And now you're actually fine. And you might even be better. Because, okay, this is a weakness on d6, but he has a weakness here, and you have the two bishops, and the position is somewhat open. It's not very locked up. And you have, you have queen b6 coming, castle, rook e8. So I think you're actually fine here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, by playing e5 in this position, unfortunately you open up the position a bit early for your pieces to actually be capable of defending. So after e5, he played the move d5, which I actually didn't think was best at the time. It turned out okay, but I actually thought he should just play a move like maybe maybe just like knight c3 or something. And then, like, the idea is you never really want to take this because it leaves this pawn too weak. You don't want to really open that file unnecessarily. Like, you'd rather have him take here and then you take back and then get rid of that weakness. So I thought maybe just simple development for him would be better, but he ended up playing d5. Oops. Where is that? Where's d5? Okay, well, let's assume this is going to work. Okay. So yeah, okay, so you played knight ce7. Okay, so I thought that was okay. I also thought you could maybe try knight to b8, simply with the idea that, if he takes, you take back with the knight, and then you try to kind of hold. But I thought what you played was okay too, but the problem came here. Okay, so in this position, so you were absolutely right to want to challenge the center with f5. The problem was the timing. So notice that what square do you lose control of when you move this pawn?
Yeah, I completely lose that e6.
Yeah, exactly.
The knight takes advantage of right away.
Exactly. So what should you do instead at this point?
I think I really need to get the knight out.
Right, I thought so too, but I was thinking maybe you have time to play this. I mean, maybe not, but like I feel like the problem is you're absolutely right that you do need to play f5 at some point, or else you're just going to get crushed because he has more space in the center. This pawn's a weakness, and he is going to be able to use the open line on the open c file more easily than you. So his idea is he's going to play like queen b3, knight b5, rook c1, rook c7, that type of thing, and you're really not prepared to meet those moves. But if you can get an f5, you get counterplay. But the problem is, like, if you develop your knight immediately with knight f6, then it's going to take you at least 3 more moves to get in this f5 because you're going to have to move this knight, you're going to have to castle, then you're going to have to play f5. So I'm not sure which one is better. Like, it seems safer. Play knight f6. But go ahead, yeah.
Like a knight h6.
Yeah, I thought about that too. But the problem is on knight h6, he can just play queen to d2. And now where does your knight go?
Okay, right. Yeah.
Yeah, then you have to go back to G8, and then it looks.
It seemed promising. But
Yeah, no, it would be if this pawn were not on H3. Like if this pawn were on H2, this would actually probably be the best move. You're right.
Okay.
But because the pawn's on H3, it just kind of messes everything up. So
Okay, yeah.
I'm actually not 100% sure what the best move is here.
Considering what happened, I really have to say that knight F6 and just deal with the rest.
Yeah,
of the
I agree. I agree. I mean, all I can say is it's probably not F5. Let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but so you played F5. So he took first, which I didn't. Oops. So F5. Yeah. So he took first, which I didn't think was actually correct because I thought he should just get this in immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so here's another important point, and this applies in general. So you ended up actually taking with a knight, but there's a very important reason why this was not the right capture. So do you know what you should have captured with instead?
So, I mean, the choice between the
queen and the pawn.
I mean, in general, the pawn doesn't look like a good idea, but here might actually be the one time that it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, so actually, it turns out that in general, you do want to take with the pawn. Okay, so do you know what the reason might be for taking with the pawn? There's a specific reason.
I feel like there's a couple. You're taking towards the center.
Yep, that's one.
You're kind of gaining space.
Yeah, but there's a specific square that you should have in mind when you take that pawn. Do you know what square that might be?
Well, I feel like the E4.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So notice that when you take with the knight, okay, what square is a permanent home for his pieces now?
E4 can be.
Exactly. Exactly. Whereas when you take with the pawn, so yeah, I mean, it does actually a few good things. One, it opens up this G file, which you might want to use to put some pressure on his king. But most importantly, and the reason you want to capture the pawn in general, is that you keep this pawn duo on E5 and F5. And it makes moves like E4 and F4 threats. So, depending on where your pieces are, you can potentially play E4 to open up the scope for this bishop. You could potentially play F4 to give your knight this F5 square and also cramp his bishop and start, generating some kingside threats. But also you're firmly controlling E4, which is what's most important.
Okay, I think I just got scared because I
can understand why you would be scared, but I mean, if you can castle, you're fine. The problem is you actually can't castle because of knight G5, and then I guess you'd have to play knight F6 to stop queen H5, and then knight E6. But here, at least, now you can play something like rook to G8. And now, your king is not in great shape, but I'm not entirely sure how he increases the pressure here. I mean...
Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah. I mean, at least you're kind of clinging to something. Now maybe you play bishop F8 next, and then maybe you start playing F4, E4, F3 real fast or something. Maybe you have ideas of taking on D5, and then this is hanging. All sorts of weird stuff. But at least I think this would have been better than the game. Because once you took back with a knight, I think now you have really no counterplay, and once he puts his knight on E6, I think you're just basically waiting for him to come get you. So knight G5, knight F6. I mean, I don't really know what you could do better. Knight E6.
I was surprised I didn't see it even until it happened.
Yeah.
It just blew me away.
Yeah. I mean, this knight on E6 is just so powerful. And you played A6, which actually I think was a good move because he is actually threatening this move knight B5, which is kind of odd. But the point is, obviously, you can't take because he has knight C7 forking everything.
Oh, well, yeah.
So your move A6 was actually, I think, a good move. It unfortunately weakens your queen side, but I mean, at this point, you're basically trying to play the lesser of all evils. Okay, so you played rook C1. You played king F7, which I thought again was not terrible because you're trying to get your rooks together. I thought maybe another thing you could try is king to E7, so at least this knight G5 doesn't come with check.
If that happens, can he just take the... Oh no, my my bishop's defended.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
At least for the time being.
yeah, I mean it's ugly. I mean another thing you could consider here is maybe an immediate bishop h6 just to get your bishop out of take and try to because in this type of position you want to try to trade pieces because his pieces are better than yours.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's one of the ones I was talking about, I think, or at least thinking about.
Yeah, I think you did mention bishop h6 at some point, so I think here might have been okay. But like I said, king f7, I can't really blame you for wanting to connect your rooks. So he played queen e2. I thought he would just play like knight a4 actually and just try to go this way, but queen e2 made sense. So he played b5. So here maybe just try to tuck your king in and try to kind of like castle manually. So something like rook d8 or rook c8, and then just try to play like king g8, and then even try to sacrifice maybe this rook for this knight, because really
that's reasonable.
Yeah, because this knight is probably worth at least this rook, and here you're getting this knight and this strong pawn. So if you can sacrifice your rook for this knight and this pawn, you actually have these two really strong central pawns, and you actually might have full compensation, or even be better if you can manage to do that. So I don't think he'd probably play knight g5 check and knight e4 or something, but at least you're getting safer, right?
Yeah, I just had these illusions of grandeur that I can come over and get that pawn.
Yeah, I know what you were trying to do. You were trying to win this pawn, and it made sense actually. But the problem is your position couldn't really support it. So he played a3, which I'm not really sure why he did, because it's not like you were ever going to play b4. I don't think.
I was thinking about b4 that he won't be protecting that pawn anymore.
Oh, that's true actually. But if anything, he should probably just play b4 himself then, and just stop it. But
easier.
I mean, okay. So he played a3, you played queen b7, and now, well, now he actually had a couple of interesting things. He could have actually tried something like, man, there's a lot of really tricky stuff here. Like he could have maybe tried knight to e4. The idea being he wants to play this move.
Ouch, yeah.
And then if you like take on d5, he has like knight 4 g5 check, and I think he's winning because he can play queen f3 next, and then this knight's pinned, and I don't know, it looks really ugly, but I mean that was one idea. But okay, so he played what did he play? He played f4, right? So this also made sense. Whoops.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to open up the f file, and so here. You play e4. Okay, so here I thought, was there any reason you couldn't just take on d5?
On d5?
Yeah, just knight takes pawn like that.
I was just so worried about the f attack.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, at this point, if you take this d5 pawn, you can like threaten e6 now, and you're also threatening e3.
That does make sense. I was just expecting pawn takes on e5 and then pawn push g4.
Right, I understand, but you're threatening a lot of things.
Right, so I would probably be out the way before that happened, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So I think knight takes. He plays knight g5, and now you play king e7, and now you are out of the way, and you also have this threat, and you also have this threat, which ended up happening later on in the game. But okay, so you played knight.
Well, can't I use that threat right now? Because I did that like 1 or 2 moves.
Right. Okay. So yeah, the problem is, at the moment, I think this knight is stronger than this rook, which is what, if you play knight g3, what that trade ends up being, right? Because he ends up taking on f1. Yeah. So, like it seems like you win material, but I actually think it's better for you to keep this knight where it is rather than go and winning that rook.
Yeah, once I did go and win that rook, I felt like I was just even more scared.
Right, exactly. So, which is why, I mean, because the thing is, you had this whole big plan to win this pawn, and then he actually let you win it, and then you didn't end up taking it. So it was kind of like weird, because you kind of planned your whole position around taking that pawn, and then you never ended up taking it.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of chickened out.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's a reasonable thing to be scared of, because this king and this rook being on the same file does look very ominous. But you know, if you had, I mean, also you were kind of a little bit short on time, but yeah, I mean, it's just at that point you kind of needed to just calculate a couple of lines and seeing that you were threatening more things than he could defend at the moment for him to, you know, continue with his plan. So you were kind of thwarting his plans by threatening something that had more force than what he was threatening.
Yeah, I definitely didn't calculate the line because for some reason I said knight takes and then I felt like pawn takes on.
Right. You thought that opening the F file was disastrous, right?
I completely forgot that I could take the knight in that case.
Right, and or the bishop on E3 as well. So, okay, so you played E4, which makes sense in that you want to keep this everything closed. So you play G4, saying, "Get out of there, knight." And so here I thought you would, again, take on E3, and then when he takes back, now you can take on D5 again, maybe.
Oh, I see that. Maybe. I'm surprised I didn't look towards that, because I wanted that pawn still.
Right.
But I mean, I just saw the pin.
Right, you saw the fork, right? And then you got excited.
The fork, right.
Yeah,
but like, I've had nothing good this game yet.
Absolutely. I completely understand, but again, I think that knight is worth more than that rook, and I'd rather have the bishop because the bishop is really like your dark squares are somewhat weak, so I would probably value the bishop more than the rook. But I can understand why you'd want to take the rook. So he took. Okay, and now again here, knight takes d5. Does it work? No, I guess it doesn't at this point, huh?
Point I actually do.
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to see, okay, so you took... Oh, right. So here, in this position, rather than taking back on G7, could you take on E3 first?
That would be a lot better.
Right?
I just didn't see that take my...
Yeah, exactly. Like you assumed, he takes, I take, but you actually had two pieces you could take. You could take the bishop or the knight, so be careful when you...
It's surprising. I stopped to think about taking something with my knight there. But I didn't calculate far enough because I was like, it's not going to have a check. It's not going to be helpful. But
right. But it does actually... it's actually a move that has more force than his move because you're actually threatening the rook too, right? So he'd have to take back and then you take back and then... I mean, you might still be worse there, but at least it's holdable. Oh yeah, and IQ actually makes a good point. You can actually do this. You can actually take, and actually you don't have to take back immediately because this knight is actually trapped. So you can force a queen trade with queen a7, and notice that this queen is pinned now. So that's actually an excellent point that he makes. So he'd probably take, and then maybe knight takes e4. You can take on g7, and now you're up the exchange for a pawn, and you're probably better now, I guess. I mean, he has some chances to draw, I suppose, but I think you're better. Your rooks are going to come into force real quick. You're going to play rook e7 if you choose.
Just a second. I need to make sure my laptop doesn't die. But
Sure.
We're good.
Okay. Yeah, so that might have worked, actually. That's a good point. Okay, so taking on d5 was right, but then unfortunately you took on g7 instead, and then I think here... Oh, whoops. So yeah, you took on g7, and then here I think you're just losing, unfortunately. Oh, God.
I think here might have been a time issue.
Yeah, no, I noticed you had like less than 2 minutes at this point, so yeah.
Which I still should have taken my time. I mean, I know I can make one move per 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't take my time.
Yeah. So time management was a little bit of an issue, but to be fair, I mean, you were in a tough position most of the game, so you had to spend time to figure out how to extricate yourself. But yeah, after bishop d4, you're basically losing a piece by force here because eventually at the end of all this, there's a queen d4, which is either going to fork stuff or is just going to... Yeah, it's going to fork stuff. Because even if you played like king f7, because I actually thought king g8 was better, but...
Well, what about... Okay, I didn't realize there was a fork before, but what about knight to f6, which,
Right, so the problem with knight to f6 is g5, right?
Right, but if I'm gonna lose the knight anyway.
Right, but it's better.
To that rook.
Yeah, it's true, but I think you're also getting mated here, probably, because like, okay, you play rook f8 or something. He takes with the pawn maybe. You play king. You have to play king g8 because you play king h8 f7 is actually mate, which is embarrassing. So you play king g8, and then I feel like he can play f5 or something, and I don't know. I feel like Black's getting mated soon. But yeah, I mean it's lost, so maybe objectively it's best, but I feel like you come under a severe mating attack here.
Yeah, and I've just missed both parts, both the exchange and
yeah, I mean, I actually missed that you were going to lose a piece too. I forgot that. See, the problem is, like, I thought you could take here and then take the bishop, but the problem is he can actually take back with the bishop, and then you just lose a piece anyway. So I thought you could try that, and then I also thought you could try this move.
Pawn push.
Yeah, e3, right, exactly. But the problem with that is he has queen f3, and now your knight's pinned. So if you take on h8, he takes on d5, and you still lose a piece. So yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do. So you played king takes, and then after queen d4, unfortunately you don't have this knight f6 because there's nothing defending it. Like if your rook were on f8 or something, or if this wasn't check, you'd have like queen b6 actually, which saves everything. But unfortunately it's check, so you have to move, and now it's pretty much over. But yeah, it kind of all stemmed from the fact that just on move 3, if you just move the other knight out to f6 instead of knight to c6, I think your whole game would have kind of proceeded at a much more even pace, as opposed to kind of always responding to his threats.
Which, I mean, I think the Sicilian's like one of the actual things that I play most of the time, and I'm used to I'm used to the Sicilian happening most of the time, and he just plays the normal line.
Right, and like a main line, right.
And so I guess I didn't respond the way. Most of the time I'm responding to openings just off of my own head, not the book. But here I just got stuck in the opening, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he did play a bit of an unusual response to the Sicilian. But yeah, so just for future reference, know that especially in that particular setup, it's important. The move order is important in which pieces you develop, because as you notice, you end up getting your whole queen side developed, but it actually was hurting you because your whole king side was sitting there waiting to be. He was basically waiting, or you had to wait to develop it, and by that time he had already made inroads in your position. So. So okay, well,
it's too bad that those two passed pawns didn't end up working.
Yeah, but I mean at this point, his knight.
Push, but yeah, even then it wouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean the thing is your rook is too passive, his rook is too active, and his knight is too good. But but yeah, it was an interesting game, and you did a really good job in explaining what you were thinking when you were thinking it. So a couple of times you kind of just missed tactics like that d5 idea, but he missed it too. So. So it's just something to look out for next time. But yeah, I thought you did a really good job in terms of explaining yourself and letting us know what you were thinking. And
Alright, cool.
Thanks for being on.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for all the info.
No problem.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you on the stream.
Okay.
Okay, see ya.